Welcome to Hebrew Words in Scripture. This is lesson 33. We're going to title this lesson Salmon, and we're going to subtitle it as Salma, Why Penmanship is Important. We're going to look in the book of Ruth, especially in this lesson. We find the word Salmon appearing twice in the genealogy of Boaz and David. It's obviously a part of the genealogy that's later used on in the New Testament in Matthew and Luke, and it appears there as the word Salmon. It occurs in another genealogy in 1 Chronicles 2, I believe about verse 12, and there the word Salmon appears in the genealogy as Salma. Here we are in Ruth chapter 4. We really don't know who wrote the book of Ruth or even when it was written. It appears chronologically between the book of Judges and the book of Samuel, and it appears to be a continuation of the history, basically trying to or attempting to lay down the genealogy of David, who ultimately will be the genealogy of Jesus Christ. But here we find in the book of Ruth, chapter 4, about Boaz, and then we see the marriage of Ruth to Boaz, and then we see here at the end of the book the genealogy of Boaz, and we see the word Salmon twice in this book. If we look in the concordance, we find the word Salmon. In the Hebrew, it would be Shin, Lamed, Mem, Vav, Nun. Notice that that's a final Nun. And it would be pronounced Salmon, and it means garment. We see here in verse 21, it's listed as H8012, but in verse 20, we see it, the same word, Salmon, listed as H8009. And there we see it as Salma, Shin, Lamed, Mem, Hey. Question is what's going on? We see here a little note, and we see that Salmon can be written as Salman or Salma. Here now we are back in the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 2, and we see the word spelled Salma, and a different Hebrew word used as 80017. And here we see it as Shin, Lamed, Mem, Aleph. So what's going on, and why are there three spellings for the same word? I did not invent this idea, but scholars have noticed the possibility that it's poor penmanship. The letter Hey, obviously, we've learned has this shape, and the letters Vav and Nun have these particular shapes, and if you compare the two, it's easy to understand or see that Poor penmanship could make it possible, or poor scholarship, I guess you could also say, by not recognizing the character of the letter He or the character of the letters Vav and Nun. Of course, the letter Salm, He, would be called Salma, and that would also sound like Salm Aleph, Salma. But if we put the Vav and the Nun on the end, it would be an an On. So Salma could become Salmon by rereading the letters. So it's very difficult to read handwritten manuscripts. Even modern printed manuscripts are sometimes difficult to detect the actual difference between the letters. It is logical to assume that this discrepancy occurred after the introduction of the final form of the letter Nun, as if it were written in its final form, the difficulty of interpreting the difference between He and Vav Nun would be eliminated because of the tail below the bottom line. So apparently this occurred sometime before the development of the final Nun, which could have been anywhere after the Babylonian captivity to the early 400 to 500 AD.